Okay, that one's not my fault. That one's not my fault. I muted my mic earlier. Uh, let's do the opening. Welcome to Monkey in the Morning. I'm your host, Ranting Monkey, blah, blah, blah. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a wonderful, whatever damn day this is. No, this one's not my fault. I mean, it is, but it's not. I knew I should have done this too. Earlier today, I had my mic over here for reasons that you don't need to know. Actually, I was working on a video, but it's not a video you guys care about. It's a test video for something else I'm working on. Don't ask. You're not going to see it. It's unimportant. But I muted the mic on the mic itself. And I thought to myself, I need to make sure I unmute that before I do my stream later. So when I started the show, I had it muted on the screen because there's a mute there too. And I made sure to unmute it there. And you guys started saying there's no audio, and I look over and the little orange light is on. I'm like, god damn it. I knew I should have done that earlier. That is a lesson in procrastination, ladies and gentlemen. When you think of something, just do it then. It's always, well, not always. It's probably going to work out better for you. So yeah, hope you guys are having a great day. I'm all right. God, I need sleep. I'm not sleeping very well, and I'm sleeping in little 2 and maybe 4 hour chunks. So I come 7 o'clock each night lately, I just get so damn tired, and I just kind of fumble my way into bed and wake up a few hours later and try to get the show ready. And unfortunately, tonight, there's really not that much news that I cared about. I'm not saying that there's not that much news. There's always a ton of news. It just depends on what you're looking for and what interests you. But there's just not a lot out there that I give a damn about. I mean, we have our normal political stuff going on. Anheuser-Busch is now being blacklisted by an LGBTQ advocacy group. Dun dun dun. This is actually news from a couple of days ago, but for some reason it popped up in my timeline again, like it's fresh as the morning. And the only thing I can say to that is, if Anheuser-Busch had asked themselves, which is going to cost us more sales, pissing off a bunch of people who don't drink our beer or pissing off a bunch of people who do, which one should we go with? And if they'd done that at the beginning, then they wouldn't have had a problem in the first place. I just, I don't understand. I don't understand why it popped up again today. I guess this is going to be a thing that's pushed for a while as people want to remind how bad it is to go do this wokey, stupid shit. I think you made a mistake in the title. There is no, hang on. We got some British person here who doesn't understand how to do dates. Hang on just a moment. Thank you over on the Streamlabs. Who is that giving me shit? Evolved Potato, thank you. I think you made a mistake on the stream title. There is no 5th day of the 21st month. It doesn't exist. Oh, so it's not even the British, or you Australians. You guys do that weird British shit too? Do you guys use that fucked up dating system? I know. Let's put the day first. Well, why? Because when people look at a date, that's the important part. They don't care about the month. That's secondary. What they mostly care about is which never mind. You guys are weird, and stop it. Just stop it. Yeah, exactly. We use the Freedom Calendar, and you guys should jump on board. So of course the trans nonsense is going around. I saw a story today about we used to call them BMXers. What do they call them now? Extreme bikers or whatever the hell it's we people on bicycles made for children doing like stunt work and stuff. And I'm not saying that derogatory. But you're more BMX bike type rather than a mountain bike that's made for people like me who are old, and you got to be careful with us. The U.S. national team has a man on their female team, because of course we do. And it just made me think of, back in the day when we used to make fun of East Germany and Russia in the Olympics because they would have, women who mysteriously had lumberjack beards. We used to make fun of it, right? We used to laugh like, haha, they're sneaking men onto their women's team. And I just sat here laughing to myself, like, at the times they are a changing, I guess. But yes, this dude on the U.S. national team, because of their placement, they placed 10th overall in their whatever division. They were getting to go ahead to the finals, and they actually kept a woman from being able to go to the finals. But fuck it, it's not that the women are being held back or oppressed or anything because of this. And I know this because somebody put out a video today of a woman in a bathroom who was kicked out of the bathroom for looking like a dude dressed as a girl. And I just saw this recently, like right before I did the show. And I was like, okay, I feel like I would have heard about this. So I went and looked it up, and I'm digging for it because the person who posted it, they're like, this is what's happening in 2023. They're going to make you have papers, please, for your vagina. And I looked it up. This video is from at least 2016. That's how old it is. How do I know that? Because the Young Turks covered the video in 2016. You can't fake that. It's got the YouTube date right there. It's from way back in 2016, but it's being presented as though these are the consequences of these damn Republicans and the conservatives in 2023. No. Even if you wanted to take that route, you know what this is the consequence of? Trans activism. Yeah. Because in 2014, if some trans passing man went into trans female, trans passing biological man went into a bathroom, nobody would have cared. You guys made it an issue. You guys made it, I have a right. It all started over a school issue where a child wanted to go into the locker room and bathroom of the opposite sex, and you guys made it a giant deal. Just like you did with the Starbucks cup. The Christians are freaking out over the Starbucks cup because one goddamn guy wrote a blog post about it. You guys blow everything up and then blame the conservatives and be like, do you look what you guys did? Look what happened. Look what happened. You're making it so we have to show our vaginas to go into the bathroom in 2023, 7 years earlier. Shut the fuck up, man. I'm tired of this advocacy shit. I really am. Tired of these activists. You got such a privileged fucking life here in the US that your bitch is, oh my God, sometimes people think a woman looks like a man. Well, why is that? Why is that? One of the people who responded, a follower of mine, said, to be fair, just this past December, a friend of mine who gets facial hair and doesn't always have a chance to cut it off was mistaken for a trans person. Your female friend with facial hair was mistaken for a man. That shit happened before I was born. I cannot tell you. I can tell you, actually. I've told this story before about how when I worked at Walmart, when I first got into the because I started out as a cashier, and then if you were a good enough cashier, you got to go work in layaway. And it was a good gig because we spent most of our day fucking around. That's just true. But one of the first things they did when I got there was warn me about this one customer who's a lady who looked very mannish, and be very careful not to use the wrong pronoun for them because they had their biological pronoun of her. And if you called this male looking female a dude, she would lose her shit. So you can't point to that and go, oh, that's a consequence of what's going on today. No, that's a consequence of your friend having a beard. I mean, that's not the conservatives coming to get your friend. That's your friend needing to get some manscaping going on. Get the trimmer 4.0 or whatever. Manscaped, go ahead and sponsor me. That's all that is. It's not the same damn thing. Anyhow. Italian or Hispanic. That's it. I mean, maybe Middle Eastern. Could be any. I don't know. They didn't say. Oh my god, guys. You guys want to watch a video? I don't know how well it's gonna play. It's gonna seem like my internet is bad, and that's the problem with it. Is it's gonna seem like my internet is bad, and it could be that my internet's bad, or it could be that we're watching the video as it exists. This is from the Texas legislature. This is the House Speaker in Texas. They were having some bill thing go on, and well, this happens.
Mr. Speaker, I move adoption.
Mr. Campbell, send an amendment. The amendment is acceptable to the author. Is there objection to the opposite amendment?
Now I realize that's really quiet. I can't turn it up. You guys saw me try there. Did you hear what he said? Now, JMK, that's possibility. That's what a lot of people are saying. Drunk. I don't know. I really don't. Do you guys remember when that one reporter, I forget who she was, but this happened to her on live on the air? She goes to say something and just gibberish came out of her mouth. I mean, that kind of thing can happen. Is he drunk? I don't know. Let's watch more and see if you guys have a better take.
The chair has done. The amendment is adopted. The chair recognizes Mr. Johnson of Harris. Mr. Johnson of Harris to speak in opposition to the bill.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on with this guy. Something is obviously going on. That is, he's speaking Bidenese. Aneurysm or stroke. Here's the thing. He's either drunk or, yeah, he's having some kind of brain issue. And god damn. If he's not drunk, that is scary. If he's not drunk, that is scary as shit. You need to be with a neurologist immediately. He sounds like my dad after a stroke. So, yeah, that my joke to this was if he was in the Senate, in the U.S. Senate, we'd call him Fetterman. Just because, I mean, come on. He's as, actually, I would say he is more, more equally. He's about the same as that last Fetterman video we watched. He's equally on par with it, right? Maybe a little bit better, maybe a little bit worse. Yeah, Intelligible's not the word. I'm trying to decide if I think it's worse or better. And at least you saw him trying, and he actually, except for where he mumbled through that one part, like when he's introducing the guy for the opposition, he actually, he concentrates on it and he gets the guy's name out there. Fetterman just went sailing. So I don't know. Is it better, worse? It's certainly on par. It's certainly on par with some of the shit we've heard from our president. But there's several people like he's just drunk. I don't know the guy. I don't follow the politics of Texas that closely. Addie, what's up? So I can't say if this guy has a history of being an alcoholic. But that is, if he's not drunk. If he is drunk, dude, you have a problem and you probably need to step down. If you aren't drunk, you absolutely need to be into a neurologist because fuck. He's just slurring. Fetterman was saying sentences out of order. Fetterman wasn't just saying sentences out of order. He was saying words within those sentences out of order and just throwing some random shit in. Because there's no part of Fetterman's question that needed to have sailing said twice. And I would give him a pass if he just said sailing once. All right, he misspoke, but he said it twice. So, nah. I'm convinced he was just thinking of being out on a lake somewhere when his wife's trying to drown him for the insurance money. Not that I think she's actually doing that. I got blocked by Idubbbz, you guys. I don't often talk about the blocks I get because I get blocked all the fucking time and I don't much care. But Idubbbz, he put out this is the guy we talked about yesterday. Idubbbz put out a tweet that said, the only people I care about, the only people's opinion I care about my apology are the ones that it was addressed to. And I said, that's very open-minded of you. Does that include your fans who you didn't so much apologize to as insult? And that pussy blocked me for that. I'm like, really? Wow. All right. Yeah, you're a human-sized vagina. They won't have to check you when you go to the women's stall. Who could have seen that coming? I mean, I wasn't even that mean. I wasn't even mean. Now, somebody suggested maybe he watched last night's show, and I doubt that sincerely. Maybe he saw the thumbnail with his trailer parky head in it, but my guess is anybody who was giving him any kind of pushback on his bullshit on Twitter got blocked. So I just got caught up in the crowd there. I just thought it was funny because I wasn't even mean to him. I'm like, really? I mean, I laughed at you a little bit, just a tiny, tiny bit, but not enough for you to be that whiny bitchy about it. This is more video game-ish than you guys care about. But one of the was he the lead on Andromeda? He had been one of the writers on Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. Not the lead writer, but one of the writers. And then when Andromeda's getting finished, he ends up taking over as like the lead on it, I believe. And he came out, he's like, I really wish we would have got a second Andromeda so people could have seen how much better the game could have got. This is important, and I'll explain why. But before we get to why I'm explaining that it's important, Andromeda was a bad game. It was just boring. It was one of those games. I'll get to that in a second. The important part of this that you should know is this is the fourth game. They've made Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. And you bring out a new one, Mass Effect Andromeda, and you needed a second game to make it good. To let people know how good it could get. I think I see why the game failed. You had 3 games already built that already did fantastic, which each built upon the one before it. And for the fourth one, you needed a 5th to make it okay. All right. Reaper says, I actually don't hate Andromeda, but I don't consider it a Mass Effect game at all. I'm going to tell you why I hate it. And it's weird driving around collecting. That part I don't care about. They made us do that in the original Mass Effect, and it was still a good game. What I hated about it, and this is why I'm talking about it, because I see this in movies too. I see this in television shows. Mass Effect Andromeda wanted me to care about characters I'd never met or barely met. And none of it was important to me. Like when you first meet Liara or Tali in the original, you don't really know them yet. But this Tali, for instance, she's getting abused behind the scene. You're in that alleyway and you got to go save her. You don't know her. You don't have an emotional attachment to her, but you're trying to do good things. You're hopefully playing as a renegade. Were those the good guys? The good guy, Paragon. That's the word. You're a good guy, so you go to save her. But from there, her story is expanded upon, and you learn more about her, and you come to care about her. In Andromeda, I never cared about the characters at all. I'm just supposed to care about the characters because they're like, this person's important to you. And you get that in movies and god damn, they're doing it in so many video games these days. Like, you need to go save your sister. I've never met her. Maybe she's a bitch. Maybe I don't like her. And then if you do go save her, like, all right, and nothing happens. There's no emotional connection ever built with the characters. And it's I did not care about the three-fingered chick in the mess. That's Tally. And in some parts of the country, you'll get tarred and feathered for saying things like that. But yeah, I'm tired of this shit. And I see the writers are on strike, right? And I'm supposed to care. I'm supposed to care for two reasons. You see, they're being underpaid. All right. Look, I know the Biden economy's hit a lot of people pretty hard. And so if they want to go out there and be like, hey, give us more money, whatever, I don't care. That's between them and their bosses. The part that annoys me about it, though, is they're making a big push about AI. Like, hey, you guys have to promise that you'll never use AI because you could write a script with AI and that'll take away our job. They took our jobs. They'll take away our jobs. All right. Okay. If your writing is so trash that it can be done by an AI, if your writing is that garbage that there's no buildup, there's no payoff, that you don't actually understand story structure or any of that, that an AI can do it all for you, why the hell would I ever give you money in the first place? So much of what we've seen come out, I don't know if you guys have paid attention. Hey, what's up, BX Beast Boy? If you guys have paid attention, but it's not that these story ideas coming out of Hollywood are stupid. There have been stupid ideas coming out of Hollywood forever. The movie Goonies, dumb as fuck on paper. Dumb as shit. But it's the writing, the directing, and the acting that sold that story. And if any one of those fails, that movie probably fails. It's dumb as shit. Revenge of the Nerds, dumb as fuck. The premise of it, just the premise. Not talking about any of the story or any of that. So many movies out of the 80s that are classics on paper are stupid. So you can't just blame it on dumb premises. Something else has changed. And it's the garbage bullshit writing. That is the biggest issue. Because you have all of this, and I hate to go down this well again, but you have all this SJW woke bullshit that has been pushed on us for the last decade, and it's just trash. Of course your job can be done by an AI because you're stupid. You're bad at what you do, and it shows over and over and over again. When you get a movie like Top Gun Maverick, which, for the record, should have been a mid-movie at best. If we're being honest about it, should have been a mid-movie tops. And it dominates the box office because it simply mostly stays away from that shit and tries to tell a fun story. And you're getting beat by that, you should be fucking fired from your job. You don't deserve that job. I saw this one woman, I don't remember if I talked about it on stream or if I only talked about it with Jack, but this woman who's part of the writer's strike, she actually said, we've been working our asses off for years to get here. The bitch had had her job for a year. She'd only worked in writing for a year. That's it. Speaking of Jack, by the way, guys, I don't know if poor Jack, I feel bad for him. He never knows when we're going live any more than I do. But Jack did a comic review the other day of an Avengers book that it's part 4 of a series of 5. And Jack really liked it because it reminded him of old comics. Because comic book writing is such trash these days that when you see something that's like, oh my God, this is like it used to be. It's amazing. It makes you just go, holy shit. Yes, this is why I read comics. There was a comic book, I forget which one. Somebody in chat will tell us, where the bad guy, who was a chick, turned themselves over to the good guy, who was a chick, out of female solidarity. That's a real storyline they went with. The bad person who kills, murders, and maims turned themselves over to the good guy because the good guy had a vagina. Was it female Thor? That's what I thought, Faithless, but I didn't want to say that and be wrong. That's what happened. And they're like, why? Why do you guys not want to give us more money? Because you suck at your fucking job. Christ. Yes, I would continue to kill and maim, but out of solidarity with you and your vagina, I'm gonna go to prison for a while. Yeah, that makes a good idea, or that makes a good story. That's compelling. Look at the Velma thing. Even fucking lefties hated that one. You take the Scooby-Doo, you can do a lot of things with existing characters and you'll still have some fan base out of it. But they took those existing characters in name only, literally in name only this time. They actually made Scooby a person. And it's just trash. Mindy Kaling, or Kylie, however you say her stupid fucking name, for some reason is seen as some comical genius. And she's not funny. She's not even good at writing. And if you pay attention to when she does, you can tell because it's almost always the same stupid shit. Often with her putting herself in the role of hero because she has an issue of seeing herself as the fat little girl that she is. I'm the hero. You're not. And nobody wants to be you when they grow up other than maybe your money and your mustache. I mean, there's some guys out there who can't grow a mustache that good. They made Scooby a government pro. It's, oh God, don't get me started again. I'm going to let that one go. I've ranted a lot off stream about that. She was never funny first time I saw her in The Office. I don't think The Office is that funny. Anybody else with me on that? I like The Office, but I don't think it's that funny. Once they got away from trying to be more like the British script, it just kind of falls apart. And yeah, I mean, you can certainly see where it ventures off. It has funny moments, but yeah, it's not a funny show. I would never call that show a comedy. But damn it, those people couldn't make it past the first episode. The first and second episodes of the US Office, the first episode is beat for beat the British version. If you watch those two back to back, you'll see they're beat for beat the same. Just a little more uptight in the British version. You Brits are just so much more uptight than we are. But when you get to the second episode, the racism episode, that one's not funny because it's funny. It's funny because Michael just doesn't understand what he's doing wrong in that one. So after that, yeah, it's not really that funny. I like The Office up until Michael leaves, pretty much. And they probably should have stopped a season before that. But it's more of just a character driven show of it's not funny, it's not drama, it's not comedy, it's just there. Anyway, can't understand the hype about The Office. It's not that good. I can't understand either, if I'm being honest. And I say that as somebody who likes it. I have to put that out there because you just don't like. No, I like it. I do, and I've watched the entire show, and I've also watched through probably the first 4 seasons several times. But yeah, U.S. versions of shows are often shit. You know why? And this is quite honest. It's because we do more shows. You guys over there in the British Isle and elsewhere around the world typically don't do the 22, 23 episode seasons that we do. Like the entire run of The Office in Britain was what, like 20 some episodes maybe, with them getting a big episode at the end to wrap up everything and bring Jim and Pam together, whatever the hell their names were in British speak. But over here in the US, you have the fall season, right? And you have to have, when you commit to a show, that's 22, 23, 24 episodes. It used to be 26 back in the day, a full half year. And you guys are like, no, we're going to do 12 episodes. And then streaming platforms got a hold of that shit. And now I only get 12 episodes of something. And they're like, we worked a whole year. No, you didn't, bitch. You worked 15 weeks. Fuck off. Anyway. Also, British go for quality actors over good-looking ones. I don't know about quality actors, but you guys certainly do put a lot of ugly fuckers up on TV. You guys are like, we don't care if they're pretty. They got an overbite that touches their toe. That's fine. He's even missing an eye. It's on the back of his head. He's a great actor. I love my British audience. You guys really do. You put some ugly fucking people on TV. And we're more prone to put pretty people on TV. And that's not to say pretty people can't act. You guys ever see some of those, though, that they're pretty people and they act okay in the first or second season, and then they catch on and suddenly they're just like they phone it in the rest of the show? That's not what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about the writer's strike and fuck these people for thinking they're worth so much if their job can be done by somebody else. And not just somebody else, literally by a computer. Maybe get better. But there's a problem in Hollywood and in comics and in video games. We have an issue with storytelling where there's an established narrative. One of the great things about I want actors I can relate to. Stop it. One of the great things about especially the early Blizzard games, like you take a game like Warcraft 3. When I played through Warcraft 3, every probably second or third mission, I was like, fuck, what's happening? Because a couple of them were, okay, run of the mill, and then the little story beat afterwards, isn't that? But then you get to these major plot points, and it would just change everything. And Blizzard was not afraid to tell a story that went against what you would normally see. In a normal video game, Arthas, Warcraft 3, Arthas, he's the hero at the end. He stops the plague. He stops everything bad from happening on his side. Not talking about the blue people or any of that shit. The night elves, not the space goats. The other blue people. Arthas he's the champion. He fights off his demons, and in that game, he fucking kills his family or kills his father and slaughters an entire village with his mentor telling him, please don't do this. He's like, nah, this is what's got to be done. It was just like, fuck. And it's good writing. And it's not good because it subverts expectations. It's good because it subverts expectations within the story that still makes sense. Because his whole thing was about trying to save his people, doing anything to save his people. And he's got this whisper in his ear telling him, hey, this is how you do it. Like, hey, if you this town, there's some infection in that town. Just slaughter them all, and it'll keep everyone else safe. Not realizing the toll it takes on his soul. It made sense within the fucking story. It's not Luke throwing his fucking lightsaber over his shoulder because we're subverting them expectations. He made this whole map where people had to go through this whole quest to find him in case he was ever needed. But if they find him, he's just going to tell them to go fuck themselves. Yeah, because that makes a fucking lot of sense. God damn it. Ugh. so much storytelling these days is just what is expected, especially when you talk about the wokey shit, right? If I see a trans or a lesbian or a gay character in a show, I know that they're never going to die. Not that I want them to. Doesn't always make sense to kill a character, but they now have LGBTQ plus plot armor. That's not good writing. Ugh. You know, as much as Game of Thrones annoyed me because J.R.R. Martin is a little too happy to kill people, and he's way into torture porn. At least none of the characters were ever safe, and you learn that pretty early on. When Ned dies, is like, oh shit. When Robert dies, that's expected because he's even talking to Ned about taking over. But then when Ned is killed, like fuck. And then when Ned's oldest son, was it Robert? Was he named after the king? Whatever. Rob, when he dies, like goddamn, and they killed mom. Like fuck. They just nobody was safe. It was wherever the story took that crazy bastard, and that's fine. That's great. It doesn't necessarily make for the best watch because of the torture porn. I'm not a fan of torture porn. I don't get it. Here, let's watch this guy have his balls cut off and be beaten and tortured. Ha ha. Dark Resurrect, thank you. Frostfang was an excellent portrayal of a demonic weapon. The slow turning of Arthas is by far my favorite hero to villain story. Once he goes full Lich King, there's no redeemable qualities as it should be. Yeah, do you mean Frostmourne? Talking about his sword? Yeah, Frostmourne. I want a replica of Frostmourne, and I want to be buried with it knight style, so that if 1,000 years from now somebody digs me up, like we found a knight. Yeah, Frostmourne was great. No, and that exactly about when it comes to Arthas, even at the end, which is wrapped up in World of Warcraft, there's no redemption for him, as there shouldn't be. If you look at something like Return of the Jedi at the end, Darth Vader saves Luke, but he still dies, right? He gets a tiny little redemption arc. And I really do think it would have been better if they never gave him that. You know what I mean? If Luke has to overcome it all himself, maybe Vader dies, but Luke still tries to get him off or whatever. I don't know. But if they had this is a man who is slaughtered, who's murdered tons and tons of people, but because he throws the Emperor over the side to save his son, suddenly he's a good guy. The fuck kind of bullshit is that? But they were trying for that little redemption arc for Vader. Why? He was a bad person. I can sense good in you, Father. Based on what? Jesus Christ. The point of Vader's return is redemption. What do you mean Vader's return? Vader's redemption is the most bullshit part of the first 3 movies. He never should have gotten a redemption. I threw the Emperor over the side so that my son could live. Yeah, but what about all those dads who died and children who died that you just fucking slaughtered, man? He slaughtered a whole academy of Jedi children. And granted, that is retcon because of the prequels, but that just made it even worse. Like, no, he's a good guy now because he stopped the Emperor. Yeah, but he helped him kill so many people. He was there when Alderaan was blown up. He didn't go like, no, stop that. He has the power to actually control people, to move shit around. And he's like, nah, blow that shit up. But hey, he saved his son. Fuck off. Yeah, and yeah, it's why Jedi is the worst of the first 3. Why it's the weakest of the first 3. It's a main reason of that. I know a lot of people point to the Ewoks. I don't mind the Ewoks. I mean, in the first movie, they had a vampire in the pub there in Mos Eisley, and they're like, no, little teddy bears is just too far. If you want to debate Anakin Vader, we can do that. Well, Anakin I don't really recognize because I don't recognize the prequels or the sequels. But within the first 3 movies, I'm absolutely right. There's no reason to consider Vader a good guy because he saves Luke. There's just not. With the millions of people that he was responsible for killing, because he was complicit in Alderaan. Yeah, fuck Vader. He was a piece of shit. I'll never understand why Jar Jar gets so much hate. Me neither. I mean, he was annoying at times, but he's the comic relief. They probably overused him a little bit too much, but you got a giant dog walking around with him going, oh, yeah. What the fuck was I talking about? How do we get on this? Oh, yeah, because I was talking about the writers and fuck them. You can't write, go fuck yourselves. You guys want to talk about some shit that's got women pissed off? Ladies, I don't mean to upset you at all. You know that. You know I love you. All right. But this was going around today, and it's made some ladies mad. Can an insult make you fall in love? Does nagging or negging make someone seem more attractive? This is from way back in 2013, so I'm not sure why it's going around today. Apparently today was the day to rehash old shit. But this is based on a study that was done, I want to say in 65. I'll throw it into chat when we're done. And negging is the idea that when you're first meeting somebody or as your relationship is kind of building, you kind of give some negative comments to them, maybe even some backhanded compliments to tear them down just a little bit. And if you do so, then that they will be more likely to hump you. They'll be more likely to hump you. And I gotta be honest. I mean, I think it's a shitty thing to do if that's the way you're trying to get women. But I've seen far too many women who are with guys who do this kind of shit to them, and they are just madly in love. And go back to the grade school, the playground. How do you get a girl to know you like you pull on her ponytail? Don't do that if you're a kid listening. Don't do that. But you're kind of mean to her a little bit, and she likes you more. I don't want to say it's all women, but women certainly do seem to be more attracted to a guy who's kind of a jerk. And certainly to them, only works if they have low self-esteem. Bullshit. Isn't that an abusive relationship? I mean, technically, yeah. Not a turn on. Again, I'm not going to say all women, but damn near all of you. This is not how I ever tried to get women. Certainly did not get Lady Monkey by going, you're a little bit ugly. You're a little bit ugly, but I'd take you. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so turned on by you right now. They did a study back in the 60s, and they had the lab assistant, tech assistant, whatever the fuck he was. When he was talking to the participants, he would build some of them up. He'd give them a, oh, you're so pretty or something like that, right? And then with the other ones, he'd be like, you're kind of pretty for a fat girl. Now, these aren't the exact examples. I'm just making up my own examples for what they did. For some of them, he was complimentary, and for the others, he did this negging thing. You know what it showed? The ones where he was an asshole to him, they found him much more attractive than the ones that he just gave compliments to. Being funny and being insulting are different. Yeah, being insulting tends to make women more attracted to him. Look. We seem biologically programmed on certain levels. Okay, even in our psychology. Women, you want a mate who's going to take care of you and provide. We want arm candy and somebody's going to take care of our kids. Just on the most basic level, And if you're a woman and somebody has just punched you in the ego and you're like, I'm never going to find a man. Well, he's one. Is it really such a, and again, I'm being very generic in the way I'm speaking on this, but is it really out of bounds to suggest that it's a psychological play on women that does work? And again, hashtag not all. Some of you have extraordinary egos and you'd never put up with anybody who's ever mean to you. I get that. And men, I do not advise this because you do not want a woman who's beaten into it, rhetorically, not don't beat a woman, but who's just beaten down into loving you, right? That's not love. That's desperation. Why would you want a woman like that? God, do you know how annoying she's going to be for the rest of your life? Huh. Christ almighty. Don't do this, but I don't think that for all of the women out there who are so mad about this, I'm like, I from what I've seen in men and women interactions, it actually makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. It's not a good thing. That doesn't mean it's a good thing to say, hey, this is what we see. It's not a good thing to say, yeah, what you should do if you really want a woman is insult her until she finally fucks you. Because that's not how you really want to be. But I've seen it too many times. I really have. Yeah, how many of you, and be honest, how many of you have seen women who are with a guy and you're just like, why are you with him? He's so fucking mean to you. How many of you guys seen that? Monkey's the tech dude from YouTube? I can't tell because the image is too small. What image? No, I was showing an article. That's my image on the screen right there. And if you can't see that, you should probably go see an eye doctor. Yeah, yeah. It's not a good thing. And you hear this from women in certain circumstances. Okay, we'll say that. Where they started out, with high self-esteem and very sure of themselves, but they'll meet that guy. Y'all know what guy I'm talking about. And 10 years later, she has no self-esteem, probably a black eye. And like, how did that happen? Magic, apparently. Apparently, this kind of stuff would never work on a woman. Women, you need to be smarter about this shit. If some guy's doing that shit to you, don't put up with it. Just don't put up with it. That guy's an asshole. There are plenty of guys out there who will treat you like a princess. Now, gentlemen, don't take that too far to where you're the one who's beaten down either. You guys are equals going into the relationship. You should both be kind to each other. You should both be trying to help each other. That doesn't mean you're not going to have bad days and say things you regret. Yeah, that's going to happen. But it should be something you regret, not something you're like, what? When did I say that? I didn't say that. Just dismissive of the shit you were being a twat about. Oh, you ever notice that people get very mad? Or at least very contentious when you start talking about innate traits like this, innate things, just how we're programmed. Because nobody wants to be that person, right? Nobody wants to be the example. Nobody wants to be the woman out there going, Yeah, that worked on me several times. Nobody wants to be that person. Be more like Crowder? No. Crowder's a twat. I don't love you. How do you say that to your 8-month pregnant wife? Jesus Christ. But if you want an example, ding, 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 ding. Treat her like a princess, she'll treat you like a fool. I dare say that's not true. That's the issue, Monkey. The negging thing works on women who don't want to be treated like a princess. If they get a guy who treats them right, they leave. This I really can't explain. And I don't know if there's examples or studies out there that have been done on this. I do not know why women are not attracted to guys who are nice to them. It's certainly not a physical thing because look, some of you women are out there with trolls. And this is one where guys don't want to be the one. Like, no, women don't like ugly guys. I'm with a woman. Yeah, it's because she overlooked your looks, dude. But fear wouldn't make sense if they have somebody who's being nice to them. And it would be one thing if they had nobody and all they had was somebody who's being a shit to them, right? But if they have somebody else there and they're being nice, depends on the level of nice. Well, part of it, and this is for you gentlemen out there. Some of you guys like, the nice guy never gets the girl. Fuck you. I've been married since I was 18 with the same woman since I was 16. I'm a nice guy. I got the girl. Fuck you. But there's a difference, okay? There's a difference between being a nice guy and being a doormat. And the doormat I get. No woman wants a fucking doormat. And some of you are. Hashtag not in my audience, but some gentlemen out there who might happen upon this later. Some of you are fucking doormats. It's another one where you don't want to be the example, but look at yourself very closely. Some of you are not nice. You're pussies. Women already have a pussy, and unless they're a lesbian, they're not going to want another one. And in that case, they're going to want a real one, not a human in vagina shape. So you can't let yourself get walked on. That doesn't mean be mean or this negging bullshit, but you have to have a spine. You have to have a boundary. And too many of the guys that I see like, why do nice guys finish first? Because you're a pussy. That's why. I'm the type of guy who gets used. I mean, look, it does happen to some nice guys, actual nice guys who do have spines. Sometimes you just have you guys ever noticed that some people, male and female, just can't seem to find a good mate? Like, no matter who they're with, they're just like, okay, that one was a bad one. This next girl, she's going to be good. And it's going great. And then they like fuck all of his friends while he's on a business trip. They seem to find the same horrible person over and over and over again. I wonder how much that comes back to our innate ability to find somebody like you're very likely to, depending on which child you are in the link, but there's a good chance that if you're a woman, you're going to find a guy who's somewhat like your dad. If you're a man, somewhat like your mom. No, that doesn't mean you want to fuck your mom or dad. It's just like that's the example you had growing up. That's what you see as the male or female role model. And so maybe some of that is it. Like, she reminds me of my mom. See, she beats me just like she used. That's not funny. So maybe that's part of it. But it's just, there's some people who just like, you are a magnet for bad relationships. Anyway, let's move along. I didn't mean to get onto that one so deeply, but I do think that there's part of this stuff that can be explained by human psychology or human sociology even. Those two things are not bad, okay? Psychology and sociology in and of themselves are not bad. It's the people practicing them who are. they're very while still soft sciences, they're interesting fields of study. It's the assholes who get their hands on it that ruin everything. Always seem to have undiagnosed mental problems. Oh, are you talking about your dates? Because that's horrible. So not Marty. No, not Marty. Not Marty. That's not what we're talking about here. When somebody says a woman is likely to marry somebody like her dad, they're not going, she wants to bone her dad. They're talking about the way he presents himself and everything, like somebody like him, but not him, because that would be gross. By the way, I saw somebody who said I'm not a nice guy. I absolutely am. But I do. I have boundaries. And that's why me and Lady Monkey work, because we both have boundaries. Neither one of us is a floor mat. We wouldn't work if either one of us was. Because neither one of us could be with somebody who was like that. All righty. What else do we have here today? Oh, you fucking bitch. We got to talk about this stupid tweet from Elizabeth Warren. Da-da. If you're enjoying your weekend, thank the labor movement. And if you're winding down with a movie or TV show, thank the working people who created the stories we love. I stand with WGA West, WGA East, Saga Furter, and Digga in their fight. This is about the writer's strike. But let's go back to that first sentence. Okay. One, most of the stuff that I enjoy watching is years old, decades old in most cases. All right. So I'm not thanking the fuckwads who are in the unions out there in Hollywood today who write absolute trash that's unwashable. Go fuck yourself, Liz. But let's talk about that first part. Yes, Pocahontas has returned, colorful. The labor movement didn't give us the 2-day weekend. It didn't give us the 5-day work week, the 40-hour week. That did not come from the labor movement. Without looking it up, anybody in chat know who gave us that? Anybody? I know you guys already know this. Henry Ford, an industrialist, a commie sympathizing industrialist at that. This didn't come from the labor movement. Ford did it on his own. He was like, you know what? One, he's making money hand over fist. But he's like, I think my guys deserve 2 days with their family. That's what started it. That's where it came from. And you know those fucking business people you hate so much, Liz? Those corporate giants? That's who did it. The labor movement just attached themselves to it because they're douches who don't do anything for people, and they had to show something. They had to be like, look what we did. And so they just attached themselves to it. Just like they attach themselves to your fucking paycheck while they sit on their ass doing nothing until they go, we need to strike. My bank account's getting a little thin. Henry Ford gave that to you, ladies and gentlemen. For fuck's sake. Just like the feminists claiming they got women the vote. Well, we should talk about that for a minute, because I had an argument recently. Not so much an argument, a discussion, where somebody was upset that men say men gave women the right to vote. We did. Not me. I wasn't there. But if women had no power to vote, right? And women had no power in Congress, they literally had no power to change things. They could have struck and whined and all of that they wanted, but if men had just said, you're still not going to get the right to vote, they'd never have the right to vote. Now, you can make arguments that they influenced their husbands, sure. But when it came to the actual process of giving women the right to vote, it came from men. Because we were the only ones with the power to have done so. That's not a slam against women. It's just reality. It's just the truth. Fuck. Maybe we can call him the first male feminist. I don't know. But yeah, when it comes to this whole labor thing, look, Labor Day is coming up here real soon, right? What day is Labor Day this year? Stop it with your hate facts, Monk. I can't help myself, Dangerous. You know that. You've been here long enough. You guys know I don't like labor unions. Fuck them. No, not labor. Memorial Day's coming up. Labor Day's at the end of summer. Memorial Day's coming up. But don't worry. You know what's coming up after that? What's far more important than that? Pride Month. Are you guys ready for Pride Month? Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait until there's ugly fucking rainbows everywhere. You guys have made rainbows ugly. You realize that? And not just because you put them everywhere so it looks like Crayola puked on the sidewalk, but you've actually added ugly colors to the flag. You know, as you get the extra representation. Labor Day, where we celebrate workers with a day off. True, that is true. But again, that's the end of summer. I had the wrong day. Memorial Day is at the end of May. Women were given the right to vote by who? If they want to say men didn't give it to them, ask them who they got it from. That's a good way to put it, Black Romeo. Who gave it to you? We fought for it. Fought who? Yeah, just go Socrates on their ass. Just who? Just everything with a question. Oh man, fucking Pride Month. Do you know what month we're in right now? I don't either. I saw something about vets or something, vet month or vet week coming up. Unfortunately, nobody cares about that. We pretend on Memorial Day that we care, and that's kind of sad. Tom McDonald had his line, something to the effect of, if you're a vet, you get a day, but if you're Caitlyn Jenner, you get a whole month. Do you remember when Pride was a day? It wasn't that long ago. Do you remember when Pride was a week? Again, not that long ago. But Pride Month starts on June 1st. They get a whole month now for them to beat you down about thinking that men and women are different. Yeah, that's it. We've been seeing those things lately about, the schools. They're lying about what's going on in the schools. We watched that video yesterday, that black preacher up there, like, reading one of the books from the school. And the school board, like, wait, no, you can't read that. That's inappropriate. Like, why? This is in a child's school. I remember when pride was a sin. I've never agreed with pride being a sin, for the record. I just don't think when it comes to a quality like that, I'm not proud of being heterosexual. To take the wording from George Carlin, I'm glad I'm a heterosexual. I did say heterosexual, right? Fuck. Is there a clip moment there? Did I just fuck up? Anyway, I'm not proud of being a heterosexual. I just am. And I get that there was a time where gay people were expected to stay in the closet, and we're not there anymore. We haven't been there for quite a while. And oddly enough, the further away we get from gay people expecting to hide themselves, where they're even allowed to marry, the longer pride goes on. What? All right. It used to be a showing that, hey, I'm proud of this. I'm not hiding this. Pride was always the wrong word, or it should be the wrong word for that. Not ashamed. Not ashamed and pride are not the same thing. You can be ambivalent towards it. Like, I'm ambivalent about my heterosexuality. I don't care about it. I just Dixon, thank you so much for that double feminist $12. Pride History Month is October. Pride Month is June. I'm not wrong about that, am I? I swear June is Pride Month. Pride Month. Yeah, why is Pride June 1st? Concept of Pride Month began at the Stonewall Riots, a series of riots for gay people. Lasted several days beginning in June 28th of 1969. Yeah, so they used to have a a day and then a week, and now the whole fucking thing. Ambivalence month doesn't have the same ring to it. You're probably right about that, but it's more honest. Seriously, people out there in chat, are you proud of your sexuality? I mean, I'm not ashamed of it, but I'm not proud of it. But this goes back to the whole thing where people think the opposite of love is hate. It's not. It's indifference. The opposite of both love and hate is indifference. Love and hate are the same side of the same coin. Over here on the side is I don't care. I just don't care. Sexuality isn't an achievement, so no. Exactly. I've never understood the pride aspect of that. It's like white or black or Asian pride. I don't get it. I did literally nothing to be white. I mean, maybe I was the fastest swimmer, but I had nothing to do with the cells that created the fastest swimmer. Thank you, Dixie Rose. Not Pride Month, Pride History Month. Thank you for that feminist $12. What is the difference between pride and pride history? Jesus Christ. We just need pride years, pride decade. Let's just get it all out of the fucking way at once. Proud of my sexuality. Was I have to do with anything dated? I know, right? I didn't achieve anything by being heterosexual. Now, as a heterosexual, I might have achieved a thing or two. Wink, wink. But the heterosexuality, it's just what I am. I didn't do anything for it. I'm black and proud, says the black man. I'm white and proud, says the racist. Well, that's true, yeah. But again, with neither, I don't understand either of those. I just don't get it. Why in the world would you be proud of your skin color? I mean, if you were in a place where you were put down for it or something, maybe. If you were in the 1920s and you were a black person, I'm proud of being black. All right, I can see that. Because you weren't supposed to be. You were supposed to hide and have your place and know your place. This is 2023. Ain't nobody in America got any reason to be like, I'm proud of my race. Why? Nobody's shaming you for it. Okay, maybe white people are getting a little shame for it these days, but proud of your heritage? Well, here's I have some pride in my heritage, but if I'm really honest about it, I'm proud that my dad was in the Navy. That's a source of pride for me, but I didn't do it. I'm proud my grandfather was in submarines in World War II. It's a source of pride for me to talk about that because that's awesome. Do you guys know what fucking submarines were like in World War II? But I didn't do any of it, you know? It's just, hey, this is in my history. It's cool. It's a cool history. I'm cool with them being that way. You know what I mean? I feel like pride is the wrong word there. Am I wrong on that? I am proud of raising 3 wonderful children. I am proud of helping my daughter with her math homework and that carrying on to her being excellent at math. I'm proud of the time I spent with them. I'm proud of this show, oddly enough. But these are all things I did. I'm proud of my daughter. I'm proud of my sons, and they're out there doing their own achievements now. But I had a hand in that at least. You know what I mean? I didn't do anything to make my dad a sailor. It's not like, oh, dad, go be a sailor. You know what I mean? So I feel like pride is the wrong word there. But life is a race. You're the racist, I guess. Usually I am. Even when I'm not. Yeah, I just don't understand the concept of pride, I guess. And I'm a very proud person. As you might have noticed, I'm arrogant. I really am. But it's all stuff about me. I'm not proud of being 6 foot tall and blonde. I had nothing to do with that. It's my natural hair color. I didn't have my legs lengthened or anything. I am proud of my ability to read and comprehend information and put it out there in a way that helps other people understand it. Because that's something I do. Uh, feels wrong because being overly prideful is a sin. Again, I don't think pride should be a sin as long as you're proud of your accomplishments. You are wrong, actually. You're proud of them. You're proud of your father and grandfather. You aren't proud that you were on the sub, but that he was. But again, I feel like pride is the wrong word there because I believe pride should be reserved for things you did. I don't know what the word is that I would use instead. Pride is what we use as general parlance, but I don't believe it's the right word. And if it is, it's not what I feel. I think it's really cool that my dad was on, or that my granddad was on submarines in World War II. I think that is fucking amazing. I think it's awesome that he did that. But it's not a sense of pride. Honored, honored is probably a good one. I feel reverence. Yeah, that's another good one. It's just not pride, because I am proud of things I do. Okay, not everything I do. Let's bring this up on the screen. How many of you out there remember these bad boys? And they're still around, actually. How many of you guys remember these? Yes, that's right. We're gonna talk about huffing markers for a little bit. Appreciation. That's another good one. Colorful glass. Those of you who are as old as me or close to my age, you guys remember when these were introduced? Scented markers. They actually gave us markers to sniff. What fucking genius came up with these? What fucking genius is sitting at a marker factory and goes, what would be great? What would be really good is if we got these kids huffing markers. When I went to my ZMS training for Walmart, they sent like, what was it, 5 of us or 6 of us together. Oh, real quick. Evolved Potato. Let me load that one up over here because that's a longer one and I don't want to have to interrupt it because I'm a good host. Okay, I'm not a good host, but I'm proud of being a good host. Evolved Potato, thank you. The only thing about my physical body that I'm proud of is my dick. If you ever saw it, you would understand why, but it's the only thing about what I look like that I'm proud of. I mean, you do you. Nothing wrong with sniffing generic markers either. I feel like we really shouldn't be sniffing any markers. But yeah, so we go to our ZMS training and we had to go down to Grand Rapids. They have a big training center there. And we go in and we sit down, and on the table are these. And me and one of the other ZMS trainees there, we spent the entire time huffing markers. That's all we did. We made jokes and we got involved when we had to, but the rest of the time, they took our markers away from us on the 3rd day. That's how much we were sniffing them. I'm like, but they smell good. What was your favorite scent? What was your favorite flavor? Mine is grape. Oh, the grape was always the best because it smelled more like candy, grape candy, than the others actually smelled like they were supposed to. That explains a lot. Look, I am not ashamed. They gave me those, and it says scented. And how do I know it's actually scented if I don't smell it? Huh? They did, though. They literally took them away. George Mason's little man has a birthday. What's the name? Green. Which green? There's 2 greens there. I'm guessing one is apple and one is lime. I do like the apple scented. Oh, orange is a good one. Yeah, orange is good. Blake, this one's for you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Blake. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, little guy. Hope you're having a great one and enjoy your day. It's your day. Make sure everybody knows it. Have fun. That was probably the worst timing for a birthday song ever. Singing to a child while I'm talking about huffing markers. Probably not the best timing. But sure, Egg. Nikki, this one's yours. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nikki. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Nikki. I hope you have a really, really good one. Really, really do. And I really, really mean that. I think there was cherry too. Yeah, red is cherry. Cherry's great. These just popped on my timeline, and I wondered how many. I'm pretty sure it was all of us. They started when I think I was probably 4th grade the first time I saw these, maybe 3rd grade. And it's one of those things that when you grow up, right? And you look back at your younger life, and you're like, they let us do what? They let us do what? What the fuck were they thinking? We used to have a no, you don't huff pass on a marker, man. You're like, no, get your own, bro. Get your own. Is that what started it all? Pink was bubblegum. There's 2 pinks. The lighter pink is either bubblegum or cotton candy, depending on which ones you got. And the darker pink was your strawberry, with your red being cherry. God, I know too much about this shit. Do you guys remember back in the day, we didn't have all these flavors? We had like the first 4 or the first 5 of those on the screen. They didn't give us a light blue. And don't tell, look, all right, look. Don't tell me that they added that light blue because kids just needed light blue to color the sky or something. Y'all did that so that they would huff more of your damn markers. Stop it. Like, nah, we got some feedback from the 3-year-olds, and they're having a whole heart. They're trying to draw that sky, but that dark blue, it just makes it look like, dusk every time they try to do it. What was brown and black? Black is black licorice, and brown is usually chocolate. And believe it or not, it smells more like chocolate than you might believe. I'm back, and I have chicken. You're not choking it, are you? Ha! Sorry. Brown is chocolate, but smelled like chocolate syrup. Yeah, every time I hear something smells like chocolate, I don't remember what chocolate smells like. Chocolate's not a smell that sticks with me. But then when you smell it, you're like, yeah, that's chocolate. But yeah, occasionally, you just got to give them another color because the kids are just having too hard of a time getting their coloring done. So you got to give them a new scent. Oh, fuck, man. Anyhow, let's move along. We've spent enough time talking about sniffing markers. Not huffing, sniffing, because we wouldn't huff around here. That would be illegal. Oh, God. Do we want to talk about that? No, I'm having fun. I don't really want to talk about that idiot. All right. This is one I need to check more into. But we're going to throw it on the screen right now. Do I want to talk about this one? It's from the other day. Nah. I haven't checked into it deeper. We're not going to discuss that yet. In a case of Monkey was right, because of course I fucking was, we have an update on what the hell's wrong with Dianne Feinstein. Miss Feinstein, and yes, I say her name 2 different ways because I never remember which one's the correct way to say it. Miss Feinstein suffered more than just her shingles. This has been confirmed now by her people, her staff, her spokesperson. They came out and told us that, no, Monkey never had rollerblades. I am too old for that. I had roller skates. I even had the roller skates that you put on your shoes and you latch them on. I had Batman ones of those. Got them for my 5th birthday. It was all Batman themed. Anyway, I told you guys that this woman looked like she had more than just shingles. For those of you who don't know, shingles is just chicken pox coming back, and it's very, very painful if you get it. And she was gone for a long time. Excuse me. And while it can be painful and it can last for a while, she comes back and she's in a wheelchair, and it looks like her face is melted. Y'all see that? You see it on the screen here? Right there? Yeah, you see how her eyes all droop down and shit? She didn't look good before she had shingles. She's old. She's like in her late 80s or something. She's old, so yeah, she's not going to look like a spring chicken. But she came back, and seriously, I saw her picture and went, fuck. So she's 89 years old. There you go. A spokesperson confirmed that Feinstein suffered from encephalitis, a rare complication of shingles that causes the brain to swell, as well as Ramsay-Hunt syndrome, in which the shingles virus impacts the facial nerve, causing facial paralysis and other symptoms. Now, I was calling stroke because it looked like she'd had a stroke, especially, a facial paralysis kind of one, because sometimes that happens. I was right. I told you the bitch didn't just have shingles. I told you. And they forced this bitch back to Congress so that they can vote on judges. That is not a joke. Instead of removing her from the committee, which they won't do as long as she's in Congress, since she's refusing to leave until after her term is over at 89 years old and having major complications from shingles, they brought her ass back so that in pain and after having major brain issues, anybody shocked by that, she can vote on Biden judges. That's true. That's what they do. These people, Democrats are horrible fucking people, okay? And I'm not talking about your average voter. We can have a discussion about that. I'm talking about those in power. Those in power are horrible fucking people who will abuse the elderly. They will abuse the fucking mentally challenged Fetterman so that they can maintain power. Feinstein is from fucking California. If she steps down, she's going to be replaced by a Democrat. It's not even a question. There will be a Democrat that takes over for her. And her place on the committee will be taken by another Democrat. And instead of doing that, instead of going, hey, you need to just retire. Look, we love you. We wish you would come back, but you're clearly not in any kind of way to do it. They brought this bitch back in a wheelchair. They wheeled her ass in. And then lied and told everybody, what? She just had shingles. Look at her fucking face. Shingles doesn't do that. Not on its own. Both of the complications are from the brain swell. Her brain swelled up. She's 89. I said this about Ginsburg. I've said this about Biden. These people need to go somewhere, retire. Whether you agree with what they've done or not in life, they have more than done their civic duty, okay? They've been in office for decades and decades. It's enough. Go somewhere, retire, enjoy the end of your life. That's what they need to do. And instead, they're wheeling them in so that they can get their fucking vote done. Can the bitch even talk? I haven't even heard her, so I have no idea. But once again, we see Monkey was right, because most of the time I am. This one wasn't hard. Look at that face. Her fucking eye is melting. Yeah, poor lady. Look, I'm not a fan of her, but I don't. This is just fucked up. This is just fucked up. Let this lady go retire. Insist this lady go retire. They're talking right now. Oh, we got to have an ethics rules in the Supreme Court. How about some fucking human decency rules in Congress? You got Fetterman up there selling the food stamps and the banks. You got this woman who clearly probably should be at home just resting. See the update to the woman with the bike. Oh, we haven't talked about that on here. Where it was her bike. Do we have another update past that? Yeah, that came out the other day where it turns out that her lawyer comes out and says that she has receipts for that bike and the bike that she ended up taking, where she was the one who paid for both of them. And she got branded a racist, and her name got thrown out all over there, and she got put on leave from her job, all because she got accosted. Yeah, it was fucked up. That was really fucked up. Now, I will say this. She still wasn't crying in that video. Women, stop fake crying, because it just makes you look stupid. Yeah, otherwise, fuck those guys. Notice none of them have been outed. None of their names are out in the public now. Pregnant woman stealing a bike from 5 black kids is way more likely. Fair. I hope she gets both red pilled and paid, suing all their asses. She's not going to be able to. Does anybody even know who those guys were? I mean, I suppose one of them had to have been the one who uploaded it. But other than that, who are they? Nothing's going to happen. Suing the media? Oh, I would sue the shit out of the media if I was her. Absolutely. I would sue the fuck out of everybody. She's suing and in hiding because she was doxxed. Not only was she doxxed, they doxxed her husband as well. Did you guys see that shit? Oh, man. They're suing the media, which outlets? Because just suing the media is vague. I mean, the New York Post is probably going to get in trouble for this one, because I know they had it out there. Did everybody cover this? Because seriously, I would sue everybody who covered it, who called her the problem. Absolutely. Because all they had to do, and this is true, because you're allowed to print something that is wrong, as long as you did it in good faith, right? You can't say it wasn't in good faith when you didn't reach out to her and ask her about whether or not, hey, was this your bike? Do you have like receipts that show that? Because she had those. So I don't think you can actually claim good faith in this one. So, I hope she sues the fuck out of all of them, and I hope she gets paid. I hope she lives the rest of her life in the Bahamas or something, someplace nice and warm and sunny where she doesn't have to deal with shit like this. Don't sue poor people. You can, and sometimes you should. I don't know about in this case. Those, not just suing, those guys should probably have charges slapped on them for attempted theft and intimidation. Rayshard Ritchie definitely called her a racist and a thief. No allege. Who's Rayshard Ritchie? I don't know who that is. Nah, I got to look that shit up. Is that the chick that was on Twitter talking about this? You'd think some of these guys would learn, right? People like, oh yeah, I can't find. I saw some pictures of this. I don't know who that is, but anyway, you would think that they would learn by now, as many times as they've been burned on these kind of stories, where it's like, oh, damn, Whitey, and then it comes out what really happened. Like, yeah, but still, fuck Whitey. Oh man, that Ben Crump fella needs slapped with a suit as well. Seriously, anybody who is out there in any kind of major way, who was talking about this and calling her a white supremacist, especially all the news organizations, all of them, fuck them all, because any one of them could have called this lady. Any one of them could have called that hospital and be like, hey, we're trying to get a hold of her. And if they didn't, yeah, absolutely. Did you see Sharpton on the subway, dude? No. And have we gotten any of any of the footage from before the chokehold yet? Have we seen any of that? Because don't tell me this guy was acting an ass and nobody filmed it until after the chokehold. There's too many cell phones seen in the videos for me to believe that bullshit. Has anybody seen any of those videos? And I'm not talking about what he's done before, like where he threw the woman head first into the subway car or any of his other stuff. I mean, that day. Because I'm very curious. I'm very curious where all that footage is. It's very 1/6, you know what I mean? Where it's like, wait a minute. How come we're only ever seeing this footage? This one angle. They're not CCTVs. Somebody said the trains have cameras, but do they all? Does every car have a camera in it now? I don't ride the subway. I don't live in New York. I have no idea. Something should definitely have that. NBC actually doubled down on the bike woman being a racist. Well, there's a fat paycheck. Wonder if any of the witnesses to that were already aware of him. I don't know, but I do know this. There was a story that came out the other day that one of the witnesses said, yeah, this guy was acting a fool. And I don't remember his exact word, but basically that this was justified to hold him that way. Subway now has CCTV. And is it in each of the cars? Because that would make this real easy. And if so, why haven't we seen that? They should have all cameras and audio with the crime. Yeah, they should. They really should. Because he was a beloved entertainer. Oh my God, I saw an article about that the other day. And they showed him in his little Michael Jackson gear. Alan, thank you so much for the donation. How are you this morning, my friend? Again, I don't know. I can't say whether or not it was justified force because I haven't seen what happened beforehand. If he was just dancing, then yeah, this is absolutely way beyond the pale. If he was attacking people or being belligerent to people, and maybe it's justified. The one thing I can't say is yes or no because I haven't seen the rest. Why are we only seeing? I've seen 2 angles of it, and both of them are from once the chokehold was placed. He died because his moonwalk sucked. No, he was just doing the ultimate Michael Jackson impersonation and died. There's a process to investigations. News always makes messes of it. Yeah, but if you're willing to put out the video of somebody being choked like that, I think especially for the fairness of a trial, if there's other footage, it needs to be put out. That is in the public interest. So, yeah, I mean, used to condition people not to be good Samaritans and step in. I don't, man, being a good Samaritan these days doesn't pay off. Good Samaritans, whether you can end up sued, you can end up in jail, you can end up dead. I don't know. I don't know if I would bother. It would depend on what was going on. Do you guys remember people getting sued for being good Samaritans and like you caused more pull somebody out of a burning car and like you caused me to have neck pain? Yeah, I should have left your ass in there to burn, I guess. It got so bad that they had to pass Good Samaritan laws saying you had to be a good Samaritan if you saw something. That's how fucked up we got. We got so fucked up with people trying to help other people that we actually had to make laws telling them that they had to. Who gives a shit if Jordan Neely acted like Michael Jackson? The real problem is when he started acting like Joe Jackson. Fair. I'd throw him back into the fire. The problem is they didn't know they needed to throw him back into the fire until after they were sued. Probably be just less trouble to just shoot him. Again, I really do want to see the rest of that footage. so often we hear these stories and it's like, this thing happened. It's like, right. And then the extra footage comes out. You know, I was going to say like the Rittenhouse case, but that doesn't fit. The Sandman case, it doesn't fit either because those were already, that footage was already out there. But for the normies, right? If you were a normie who wasn't watching the riots as a form of entertainment, and all you heard was Kyle Rittenhouse shot two black men and wounded, or killed two black men and wounded another, because that's how it was put out there. And then you see what actually happened, you might be like, whoa, wait, what? That's not the same. Yes, thank you. Controversial take, but most people aren't evil. Most people aren't evil. They're not. We don't have the level of civil suits here. We need tort reform. We absolutely do. And it gets talked about every once in a while. Part of the problem is a lot of people don't understand what tort reform is. Tort reform is just legal reform. And we need, especially when it comes to civil torture, I guess these days, we need some kind of limits on it. We need, one of the things that they did finally start doing is if you lose a case, you have to pay the legal fees of the other person. But that's not even in all states. You have people that go out there and they just file frivolous lawsuit after frivolous lawsuit after frivolous lawsuit. And in many cases, you can't even bring up the fact that they do that on a regular basis. And they just keep suing and people pay them to go away. And what we really need is some kind of penalty for it, or some way to be like, no, this is fucking stupid. The QAnon shaman, the extra video helped. It did, absolutely. Because remember, until Tucker, this is one of my favorite parts of that whole thing. Tucker, he just gave you guys not enough context. He took everything out of context. Really. He was the one with the context problem. They released the QAnon shaman within a week of that episode because people got to see what actually happened to him. When everything else is videos of him shouting or still pictures of him shouting, you're like, oh my God, look at this crazy motherfucker. It didn't show him walking casually through the fucking Capitol with a police escort. But when people saw that, like, maybe it wasn't as bad as y'all are telling us. You want to slap his hand for going into the Capitol? By all means, do so. It was trespassing? Fine. Trespass him. He gets a fine and is trespassed from the people's house. There you go. The end. Because that's what would happen in any other fucking situation. But instead, they have this bullshit narrative, and I have to be very careful on how I talk about this. The bullshit narrative around January 6th, where they painted these people, all of these people, some of them deserve prison, long prison sentences. If you are beating a cop with a fucking baseball bat, you belong in prison, period. End of story. I don't care. If you're walking around the interior of the people's house, the Capitol building, with a police escort, and the police are trying to open the Senate doors for you, that's just a minor trespass, and you get a slap on the hand. So, yeah. Feds don't go to prison. Fair enough. Yeah, these sometimes I hate our world. I love our world. I love being alive, but there's so much stupid in it. Thank you, Cast One. Stupid I heard yesterday. The Durham report isn't proof of no collusion. It's proof that the system is broken because it failed to find something so obvious. Corruption just proves the report needs to be treated as terrorists, the Republicans need to be treated as terrorists or traitors. The Durham report doesn't really prove anything that we didn't already know. That's the truth of it. There was no collusion. End of story. The whole idea that the Mueller report, it didn't find him innocent of this stuff. It said that they wouldn't bring charges because of the orders of Bill Barr. No. Stop it. There's no evidence of collusion, even with all the shit you guys had. One of the things that they pointed to is a meeting that Donald Trump Jr. had where he went and met these people and left. And he went, there's nothing to talk about with these people. That was it. And then they're like, see, collusion. Nobody's disputing that's how that whole thing went. But that is evidence of collusion in their mind. The whole nonsense, again, this all spawns from a Trump joke. From a Trump joke. He made a joke. Hey, Russians, if you got Hillary's emails, or can you get Hillary's emails? That's where it comes from. And they literally made a federal case out of it. You ever heard that term before? Don't make a federal case out of it. They literally made a federal case out of it. They had zero evidence to start any investigation. Not minor evidence, not questionable evidence, zero evidence. The evidence was entirely made up by the Clinton team and the DNC. The DNC is getting a little bit of a walk here. They're letting them get away with it. The DNC and Hillary Clinton, they're the ones who hired Fusion GPS. Is that what it was? The ones who hired Steele, a Brit spy, to go to Russia and make up bullshit. That's where it all comes from. There's no question about that. The only people colluding with Russia was Hillary and the DNC through a British spy. But my election interference. You're fucking liars. Stop it. But this is the power. See, this is why I keep telling you. It doesn't matter that we catch him in lies. It doesn't. Because all that happens is they hang on to it forever. They print a headline, and then 2 months later, you're going to hear a fucking retard repeat it to you, even if it's been 100% debunked. And then if you point out that it's been 100% debunked with evidence, they'll just block you so they can say it without anybody interrupting their lie. Are you saying there is no P-tape? Not only is there no P-tape, none of his fucking bullshit was real. None of it. They told Obama, you know what? I was going to skip this. I was going to skip it. But since we're on this kind of talk anyway, let's go back to Twitter for a moment. So we've talked. I don't want notification. Fuck off. We talked about those two idiots, the two young kids who are doing videos for the DNC, Harry Sisson and Chris Mowry. What is this Chris Mowry today? This is them sending their best. This is one of the bright stars of Gen Z. One reason I'm voting for Democrats is because our most talked about scandal in the last 10 years was a tan suit, as opposed to impeachment, indictment, sexual abuse, and defamation. See? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They tell the lies, idiots repeat it, and it becomes the truth. We need way more voices pointing out that this is nonsense. I mean, this one got bitch slapped all over. I'm shocked it doesn't have a community note on it because I can name just off the top of my head several Obama ones. You had Fast and Furious, you had the IRS scandal, you had Benghazi, you had the killing of an American citizen without any judicial process. With Biden, you have the Hunter laptop, which, remember, the Hunter laptop is not just about Hunter. Biden himself, Joe Biden, is implicated in that shit. Now, when he says the most talked about, well, in liberal circles, yeah, which includes the press. The IRS scandal. This is one of the biggest ones. The IRS, what was the IRS? Oh, Apex, I'm glad you asked. I was just getting that. Here's the IRS scandal. The IRS started withholding and holding up applications for conservative groups for 501c3s, right? C3s, I believe. Well, any of them, actually. They targeted them and been like, "Oh, these are conservatives. We're gonna send that back to them." Started making them fill out all kinds of extra paperwork that wasn't required, basically holding up their ability to run their organizations. And they said, you guys ever see the movie Deep Impact? At the beginning of Deep Impact, Leah Tioni, or however you say her name, what's that bitch's name? The blonde chick in the movie, the reporter. She accidentally stumbles onto some information but doesn't understand what she has. And so they plant a question with her for her to be the first one to ask the president about it. Now, this is what happened in the real life version. In the real life version, the reporter didn't know anything about it. The IRS, Lois Lerner is getting ready to go give a press conference. And it's the IRS, and nobody gives a shit about an IRS press conference. They reach out to a reporter and literally said, ask this question. Ask this question about these things being held up. The reporter didn't know anything about it. The reporter had no idea this was even going on. Nobody knew this was going on. But the reporter asked this question, and Lois Lerner gets up there and admits that the IRS has been weaponized against conservatives, against Republicans. They're across the aisle opponents. The fucking IRS, these people who can throw you in jail for forgetting to carry a one, were weaponized against Republicans. And she gets up there and she gives this answer. You can still find it on YouTube. We looked into that. We found it's this one guy in Cincinnati. That became the overall talking point. It was one guy in Cincinnati. Except it wasn't. It absolutely wasn't. It was a culture there in the IRS underneath the Obama administration that Obama knew about. And they never cleaned it up. Nobody got in trouble for it. Yeah, that's what happened. They weaponized the IRS against conservatives. And then they have the nerve to be like, Trump weaponized the federal government because he pointed out that these guys were full of shit. It never stopped, by the way. Yeah, as far as we know, it's still ongoing, and the press doesn't talk about it. Let's see, in the Fast and the Furious, they take this weapons program where guns that have been seized by criminals are supposed to be destroyed. And instead of destroying them, they tag them and sell them to Mexican drug cartels. And their whole purpose, Obama has alluded to this, it's never been directly stated, but their purpose was for these guns to cause some violence that would make Americans want to get rid of guns. And a Border Patrol agent and a DEA agent, I think is the other one, got shot and killed with those guns. 2 American law enforcement officers, whether you like the DEA or not, that's what they are. And they were murdered by these guns. And Congress has hearings, and they call up the Attorney General, Eric Holder, who was one of the chief involvement people in this, and ask him about it. And he's like, I'm not answering your questions. And that was it. That was it. They got away with it. Of course, there was no our most talked about scandal. Yeah, because they didn't talk about it. Instead, what they did is they actually tried to blame it on George Bush. Like, oh, this was a George Bush program. Technically, yes, it had the same name, but this is not what the program was. It was Obama and company that changed it to where they sold these to drug cartels. Whoopsie. Anyway, let's move along. No, Fast and Furious had ATF order gun stores to sell arms to shady characters. These were literally guns that had been confiscated and were supposed to be destroyed. Laptop from Hell had a shit ton of info that was deleted, but look, even the stuff, we don't even know what all was deleted from that laptop. This is one of the things they like to talk about, like, oh, we don't know what changes they made to it. Well, actually, you can see when changes were made. What we don't know is what was ever deleted off that laptop. We don't know what information went through, say, Hunter's phone rather than email. This is the stuff he was willing to talk about in email. This is how fucking bold he was. He never deleted these things. For fuck's sake. You are a fucking retard, Chrissy. If you guys don't know who Nuance Bro is, you should really check out Nuance Bro's take on these two idiots, Chris and Harry Sisson, because it's pretty funny. He's gotten into a couple of arguments with them on different Twitter spaces. I'm seriously thinking about jumping into Twitter spaces. I really, really am. Because I could have some fun in there. I could have some fun in there. I don't know if I will, though. We'll see. I really hate the audio in there. Is that wrong? And too many times they'll have somebody on there in these things. Several of them that I've been interested. Do you guys watch Twitter Spaces? Several times it'll be a topic I'm interested in, so I tune in, and they will let just some dude. I swear it's the same guy. It can't be, though, because he's on different shows at the same time. And he will just talk about nothing. Has nothing to do with the topic at hand. And they'll just let him keep going. Nobody will stop him. Go, wait. What does this have to do with anything? And he'll go on for 5 or 10 minutes and just drone on. It's like me if I were boring. Okay? That's what I'm talking about here. If I were boring, that's what it is. It's that kid got homeschooled. Yes. It's one of the reasons that I'm very cautious about who I bring on the show now. We've never had this issue on this show. We've always had really good guests. But if you watch people who do call-in shows and they don't have any kind of like green room where people can be checked in advance of who's calling in, which most of these shows don't, you end up with something like this. And it's like, because I would screening, yeah. If you don't have the screening, you can end up with people that are just like, how many headless bodies are in your freezer right now? There are people who have a lot to say, but maybe aren't the best at articulating it. Dangerous says, I feel attacked. No, not you, Dangerous. They can't articulate their point. And I don't even, what is Twitter Spaces? Twitter Spaces is basically a live stream you do on Twitter where you start a Twitter space and you can invite people in. You guys just talk for however long. And yeah, that's it. You can invite all kinds of different people on and anybody can go listen, but only certain people become speakers. People whose audio sucks can't talk on mic and are eating Cheetos. Yeah. And I get it. I understand. It's not easy to turn on a mic and talk. It sounds easy. Oh, I'll just pick up the phone. I'll call into Rush Limbaugh. And they get on there like, I like your show. It's more intimidating than some people think. And there's just no screening of it. So I have trouble watching Twitter Spaces. That was my whole rant there, except for I meant to be talking about Nuance Bro. He's gotten onto several of these ones with them, and I've thought about jumping in. I've thought about jumping into some of these and being like, hey, let me have the mic for a minute. My only other issue is I'm very argumentative and I'm not nice about it. So I don't know how that would go. Monk is describing me. I can talk or I can type well, but I'm super derpy and slow when I talk. And it's not a bad thing against you, Stevie. It's just not for everybody. It's not for everyone. So, I mean, I don't hold it against people. I hold it against the host for not knowing how to wrap it up. That's the host problem. Anytime you hear dead air or you have a guest who's just rambling or there's anything wrong with the show, it's the host's fault. Now, sometimes shit goes wrong. Sometimes audio dies. There's issues. But if you have a pattern of it, then yeah, that's you. That's just you. All right, guys. We're at the 2-hour mark. I'm actually surprised I made it this long. I'm hoping for whatever this pain is could just end, and I'll get some sleep and we'll be able to get back to some kind of normalcy here. But until then, I'll do my best to keep the shows going. But like yesterday, I'm not doing a game stream tonight. I'm going to go lay back down and beg whatever gods exist for just a little more sleep. Damn, I'm tired. I really am. I'm so tired. Just let me sleep. That should be a song. Just let me sleep. I want to close my eyes, drift away, and dream of blue sky. That's a sucky song. Anyway, thank you guys for coming and joining me. Thank you for all the support. You guys are fucking awesome. I love you guys. Your interactions are some of my favorite things. I know I don't get to often talk about or respond directly to chat. I do read a lot more than you might think. There's times that I don't. I've told you guys about that. Like if I get into a really good rant, I'm not paying attention to fucking anything. I'm usually looking up in that corner of my room. You can't see where I'm pointing, but I am pointing. But otherwise, I do, glance over here, and the interaction. You guys are just amazing. I love you so very much. Thank you for the donations. Again, your money becoming my money because you just care that much about the show is humbling, and I hope I'm worth it. Everybody, take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful Sunday, and we'll see you next time. Take care. At the end of the show, I sing a little song. Sometimes it makes no sense, and sometimes it's about my dong. Bye, guys.